Well, hello everybody. A friend of mine asked me to do a quick video tour of my workshop area here. So I thought I'd go ahead and indulge him and do a quick walkthrough of my workshop area. I moved into this house last year, and this is a small basement room that I have off the back of my garage, and I really like this space. I installed some indoor-outdoor carpet to make it feel a little bit more homey in here, a little bit more warm and comfortable. It's not conditioned space though. It's not heated or air conditioning, but since it's mostly below grade, it stays pretty cool even in these hot southern summers. And in the wintertime, it's not terribly cold, but I did buy myself a small space heater to keep it a little bit warmer. Uh, got a few shelves along the way, and my workbench here. I built this workbench way back in, I believe it was 2001, maybe 2002, when I lived out in Wyoming. I built that workbench, and it's been traveling around the United States and even overseas with me since then. It's been a really good workbench for me. Originally, I had some indoor-outdoor carpet on top of it, but a couple years ago, I put this like laminate type of tile on there, and it's so much better that way. Got a few props hanging up there. Toolbox, little ammo can for taking my batteries to the field, and my charging box there too. I keep my charging system in there. As far as my planes go, up here I've got my free wing or flight line, excuse me, my F7F Tiger Cat. Uh, a friend of mine asked me to do the maiden on his a little over a year ago, and I really enjoyed flying that plane. And I thought, I might like to have one for myself too. So a few months ago, I went ahead and I bought this, and I really do like this plane. It's a really good flyer. It's a lot of fun. Uh, Next to it, I have my Phoenix models Westland Lysander. This is probably my largest model as far as wingspan goes. I fly it on a 6S battery using electric power. I only fly electric planes. And it was a really fun build. Went together really nice. I have several Phoenix aircraft, and I really do like them a lot. I've got a little flight test plane hanging up here, and I've built a lot of flight test planes when I first started back into the hobby several years ago now, and this one was a lot of fun. I've got Snoopy in the cockpit there, flying this plane. Only good for really low wind days, but I tell you, it's a lot of fun to build, and it flies really nice. I've got several wings over here on this wall for various planes. I've got my Tower Hobbies Vista BL glider there. It's a little 3-channel balsa glider. It's a good flying plane. I really enjoy that one. And I've got my Great Plains Electro Stick um, as well. I built a little bomb drop on that plane and made some little bombs out of PVC pipe and some extra foam board that I had. And it works really well. It's a lot of fun to fly. Uh, Up above on the ceiling here, I've got my Phoenix Super Decathlon. It's another ARF that I got from Tower Hobbies. I really like this plane. It's very aerobatic. It's fun to fly routines like the full scale does with this plane. It's really enjoyable. And then next to that, I've got my Hangar 9 Mustang. This was a really interesting story behind this plane. A friend of mine, a little over a year ago, had sent me a text message. He was on a trip down south, and he said he found this plane in a hobby shop, and sent me a text and some pictures and said, "Hey, do you want this thing?" And at the time, I really didn't have any space for it at the time, and I said, I don't really need another plane right now. But he talked me into it, and I'm glad that he did. Initially, it wasn't my favorite plane. It went together real well, and I loved how it looked, and I loved how it flew. But the landing gear was a little wobbly for me, and it made me a little nervous landing it. But I did some work to it recently, changed the landing struts, and I went with a different type of wheel. And it's a beauty now. I really enjoy flying this plane. It's great in the air, and it's great on the ground. Next to that, I've got my Phoenix Dolphin, another Phoenix plane. I really, really love this plane. It's one of the first Phoenix planes I had. Flies fantastic. It's also 6S power, lots and lots of power. Very aerobatic, very stable as well. Just a great flying plane. Then I've got a Phoenix High Wing trainer next to that. Kind of bought this one for my son. Learning how to fly on that. We've flown it together a few times. It's a good flying plane. Went together really well too. He helped me build this one, and we had a lot of fun with that. Um, Over here on my racks, pardon me, I've got the E-flite Mini Pulse XT. This Mini Pulse XT, I found this at a hobby shop near my dad's house up in Maryland, and this plane's been discontinued for years now, but it was new in the box, and the price was marked way down, and I thought, hey, why not give it a shot? I brought it home. I had electrics that would fit it, and it's a great flying little plane. Really enjoy it. Really aerobatic and just fun to fly. Under that, I've got my Extreme Aerobatics Addiction. Again, a really good flying plane. If you love 3D flying or just getting into that style of flying, the Addiction is a great plane. Really, really nice. Then I have my E-flite Leader 480. I call it Miss USA. Really nice flying plane. One of my first balsa ARFs that I put together. This one I fly it on 4S power with a Leopard motor, and it's very quick, but it very, very stable flight. It goes exactly where you want it, when you want it. It doesn't do anything scary. It's a great flying plane. Under there, I've got my E-flite Taylorcraft 450. Again, it's one of the earlier ARFs that I put together, and flies really well. It's fun to do touch and goes with on a nice calm day, and it handles really well. It's a really nice flying plane. I've got a little Hobby King Arctic Cat here. I've had two of these. This is the second one. The first one, I turned it into a submarine a few times out at our local lake. Had a lot of fun with it. This one's never been flown off the water, but it's a good flying little plane. I enjoy it. Behind there, I have my Tower Hobbies Gary Wright Crazy Wing. I love flying wings. I've had several. This is the only one I have right now with a tractor style prop on it. And it is crazy. It lives up to its name. It's very fast. I fly it on 4S power, and it's really enjoyable to fly. I'm amazed at how quickly it flies, but also how slow it will fly and remain stable. It's just really enjoyable. Next to that on the wall, I've got my Lanes Planes CUDA. This was really one of the first totally built up wood kits that I've put together just from a box of wood parts. I covered it myself as well. I am not that great with the covering iron. I know some fellows at my field that are very good, but I did this one myself. It turned out pretty good, I think. It's very fast, very agile. It's a lot of fun to fly. It makes a lot of noise. That pusher prop and high kV motor really makes a lot of noise, but it flies really well. Up here I got my Durafly Vampire. It's just a 4S EDF jet. It's a good flying EDF. There's no rudder on it. You've got no steering, but no rudders. Just a bank and yank. But it flies really well. I enjoy it. It make a good first EDF, I think. Then I've got my E-flite P47 Thunderbolt. This is not the 1200 millimeter version. It's the 1100 millimeter version, but it has the retracts and the flaps. Again, it's been discontinued too, but it's a fantastic flying foamy plane. One of my first warbirds, and I really enjoy flying it. I don't fly it a lot anymore, but it's a good flying plane. Here's another really good news story. So I rescued this one from that same hobby shop I got that Mini XT from, Mini Pulse XT. I saw this thing, oddly enough, the same time I saw the Mini Pulse in that store, but when I looked at the box, it said it was control line. And I didn't see the part where it said it could also be radio controlled. So I passed it by when I bought that Mini Pulse. But this past summer, when I went back to visit my dad, I saw this plane. It was still there in the hobby shop. and I thought I'm going to take a look at it, and it said it was radio controlled or control line, and I was pleasantly surprised. I opened up the box, everything was there. It even had a motor and an old DSM-2 Parkfire receiver in it. And I asked the lady at the store if that was included in the price, and she said, "Well, if it's in the box, it's included." So I really got this thing for a great price, and it went together beautifully. I've got a woman, an air services pilot in the cockpit. Her name's Meredith. Yeah, she does a great job flying this plane. I really enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. It's got very scale-like power. Now, below that, I've got my VQ Models P39 Airacobra, and this was my first VQ model, and I was really impressed with how this model was put together. The quality of the construction and the fit of the components, everything was just really good. I really, really like this one. I had talked to another friend of mine about my experience with VQ models and how much I liked them, and he ultimately decided to buy one himself, and it turned out to be a good thing. The model that he ended up buying, he really likes it as well. So I'm glad that worked out well for him and for me. They're just a really good flying plane. On the back wall, I've got a Tough Wing. Now, this is one of my first wings, and it is quite tough. It's EPP foam. It's got a little drawing on there from one of the exchange students that used to live with my family. She actually had decorated a number of my planes at one time for me, which was really quite nice. This wing's a lot of fun. I haven't flown it for a while, but it's really enjoyable. Up here, I've got a Horizon Hobby. I've got a UMX Icon. I bought this at an old hobby shop in my hometown many years ago. I just stopped in when I was back in town to visit and say hi, and I thought, well, I can't leave the shop without buying something. So I bought that thing, and then I flew it at a local park on the pond a few times, and it's been a lot of fun. It's a really good flying little plane. I've got a couple of helicopters there. There was a time when I really thought I would like flying helicopters, but they just kind of make me sad, so I don't really fly them too much. But every now and again, I take them out. I originally got started in the hobby with cars a long time ago, and I had a Grasshopper, is probably my first real hobby grade RC car, and then a few years ago, with my son, I thought it'd be cool if we could build a few models together and stuff like that. And so I've got a few of the old Tamiya models here. I've got a lunchbox that we put together, and it's just it's just as much fun to drive now as it was way back when. It's a lot of fun. Then I've got a Monster Beetle. Again, it's just a lot of fun driving that thing around. This thing is a custom built model. It's actually an ECX Ruckus 4x4, and then I customized it with some different wheels and tires. I bought a body and painted it up, and then I contacted Cali Graphics out there to make me some cool looking graphics for it. I designed them and asked her to print them for me, and she did. So now I got it all dolled up like a sheriff's vehicle. Lights flash. It's got a siren on it that I installed. It's all operated by switches on the transmitter. It's pretty cool. I got a Bigfoot down here for my son. He loves driving that thing, and another little small truck. And of course this thing here is an old Super Hornet that I bought in, I guess it was probably 2003 or 2004 when I was living out in California. I stopped in a hobby shop out there, bought this thing way back when, and then played with it for a little while and put it up in a box, and it's traveled around the world with me. Several years ago when I was emptying some boxes and moving some things around, I found it, and I thought, hey, I might as well get that back out, refurbish it a little bit. So I gave it a new paint job and cleaned it up and drive it around and have a lot of fun with that. So moving along up here, same friend that I talked him into considering balsa models. He got me back interested in jets. So this is my Starfighter. It's the Freewing Starfighter, 70 millimeter. I really love this jet. It just looks really, really cool. It's a cool jet. It flies really nice. It gets small very fast, but I really love it. And then I've got the Intruder. Again, it's a Freewing model. This thing is so much fun to fly. Um, I really like it a lot. It's very stable. I love doing low passes with this thing, just staying low to the ground, just like the real thing. It really is a joy to fly. And then got the F-86 Sabre again from Flightline or Freewing, excuse me, and it's a good flying plane. I think it would also be a really good first big EDF for somebody that was getting into the hobby and wanted to try EDF jets. I think that would make a really nice plane. It's very stable. It doesn't do anything scary, and it looks really good. It's a really nice looking plane. And over here, I've got my BAE Hawk from Freewing. Really like this plane. This is actually the second one that I've had. The first one was a great flying plane, but as I got a little bit silly with it on a low pass, and well, it tumbled on me, needless to say. But I thought, well, do I want to get another one? Do I not want to get another one? And well, I decided I'd go ahead and get another airframe. So that's what I did, and I put all the parts into this one, and it flies just like the first one. It's very nice, very stable. I like how it flies. This is a little thing. I don't really fly it. It's a little balsa kit that I put together. It's a mini Drake. It's like a little water plane. It's pretty cool. It looks neat. It's more of a static display right now than an actual flying model. That's pretty much the bulk of my workshop. Oh, how could I forget this plane? So this is my newest plane. This is a Hobby King Tiger Moth, but it's actually, I believe, manufactured by VQ Models, and VQ Models, just like my Airacobra, have just done a fantastic job with this. Everything fit perfect on this plane. It looks really nice. And I did the maiden on it this past weekend, and it flies fantastic. I'm flying it on a 6S battery and a pretty big motor, so it's way overpowered. But the throttle stick is not an on-off switch, and you just got to learn how to moderate it, I guess. But I really love how this plane flies. It's a good size plane, and it flies really well. I just really enjoy it. Now, if we leave here and we walk out into the main garage area here, I do have some planes hanging up here. I've got up here above my car, I've got my Phoenix Tucano. I have a bit of a love-hate relationship with this plane. It flies fantastic, but this nose gear, the plane has fixed gear as it comes to be built, but you can install retracts, and so I've done that. I've done electric retracts in it, and the nose gear is, it has been a bit of a frustration for me, but I think I've got it finally figured out. An electric retract in there from a Freewing plane, actually it's from a MiG-21. And I believe it's going to be sturdy enough. Taxi testing it around in my driveway seems to be pretty good. I really do love this plane, though. It looks fantastic. It really does. The scale detail in the cockpit, I know you can't see it in the video, but it's a really good flying plane. I really do like it. Now, this area over here, I got sort of, I don't know. I took a liking to seaplanes, and I thought, hey, I need a seaplane. We got a really nice lake to fly off of, not too far from my house. And I thought, I'm going to get myself a couple of seaplanes. And so this one here, this is the Great Plains PBY Catalina. I've got this fella at that same hobby shop near my dad's house. And it was way marked down. I could have, Tower Hobbies was selling it for, I think, I don't know, like $199. But the hobby shop had it marked way down, and the exact same model, kit and everything. I think it's because they just had it in the store for so long. Put the electric power in it, put it all together and buttoned it up. My son helped me with this one quite a bit. There were a lot of wires, and he's got smaller hands than me. And so working inside that fuselage, it's a fiberglass fuselage, was kind of tight spaces in there. But he helped me get all that done, and it flies beautiful. It really does. It's great on the water. I've flown it off the land, off the grass, and it flies great. I really like that plane. This thing here, this is a Grumman Widgeon. I have not actually had what I would consider a successful flight with this plane yet. I've owned it for a little while. I took it out to fly it. I had the CG where I believe the CG needed to be, and I was wrong. It was super nose heavy, and it left the water, and then it kind of just didn't have enough power to keep itself going because it was so nose heavy. And I took it back home, and I did some work, and I've adjusted where I can put the battery, made a new battery tray, and did a bunch of stuff to it. So I'm hoping when the weather gets nice for a couple of days, I'll be able to go over to the lake and do a really good maiden with this plane, because I believe it's going to be a great flyer once we get it all squared away. It flies on a 4S battery. It's a pretty good size wingspan, actually, but it's a really nice looking model. And then this one here, this thing here, I took a real chance on this plane, and I went ahead and ordered it. It was like $100 for this ARF, and it's a treat. I had the electrics for it and everything, and put it all together. It went together nice. The finish on the model is really good. I fly it on a smaller 4S battery, and it's beautiful on the water. It tracks perfectly straight down the water, takes off, lands smooth. It's really kind of funny because the tail's not perfectly square. As best as I could do, it's a little bit off, but it doesn't seem to affect how it flies at all. It just does its thing. It really is a nice plane, and everything. So that's pretty much the walk around of my little garage area and workshop area. And well, I hope that's good enough for my buddy. Thank you.